you doing? My name's Stuart. I'm the creator of What's So Rotten About Defending... What's So Rotten About Zombies Defending an Ancient Temple. I swear I created this. This is a little video, a primer if you will, on how to run this game. It's a question I got a few times from various people, mainly because there's not a lot in the way of how to actually run this game. And especially if you're coming from sort of traditional hardback RPGs like D&D or Pathfinder, there's not a whole heap there telling you what to do. So this is designed to talk you through that a little bit and how I would run it and how I have run it. Essentially, this is a game that you play. Either you can play it on its own, but the way that I ran it was because my D&D party was going into yet another temple to fight another bunch of zombies, and it just felt like they were going to win. And I wanted to change how that worked and switch it up a bit so that they were the zombies defending their ancient temple. So let's dive into it. I'm going to be scrolling through the PDF. I'll get rid of my face in a minute just so you can see this in full. Yeah, let's go. So You're Dead. This is on the opening pages. Reminder, you can get this from itch.io and from DriveThruRPG, and you can get print copies from Exalted Funeral. So, rule system is using the What's So Cool About Space system by Jared Sinclair. We'll talk about the rules a little bit. All the artwork is, except for one of the maps, is stock art that you can pick up from DriveThruRPG as well if you want to. The cartography, there's a map in here by my good friend Luke. You should check them out on Instagram, Victory Squid. They're an amazing artist, and currently their feed is filled with Warhammer painting. Content warning. This is for viewers as well. This has death, mutilation, gore, dark themes, religion, and worship of evil and violence. So there is there's some graphic images in here, but they're not too bad. Probably not for kids though. So it's about being the undead horrors. What you need to play is at least 2 6-sided dice. 4 would be better, and 3 to 6 players. One of which will be the game master. You'll need some pencils and paper and around 2 hours. Look at that. Excellent. Around 2 hours. I've explained why it exists because I wanted to do something different, and why you would play it. So the way this game works is the idea is that everyone at the table is involved in the conversation. The players, and especially this first part, is for players to engage with, and the GM to take notes and to give a bit of guidance here and there. So the way that I would do this personally is probably have either a printout or a physical copy of the game, or just have this PDF up on a screen, TV or monitor or whatever, and go through it together from the start. I made this so that the GM doesn't necessarily have to do any prep. However, you can if you're not comfortable with making things up on the fly. So firstly, you need to decide, or you can flip a coin, was your god an agent of order or chaos? Now this is for flavor. The god that they worship might not be fleshed out to the point that they're a character, but they might be, and we'll see what that is. So you can roll to name them. This all uses D6s, so this is a 3D6, and you might get Muda, the greedy king of beasts, okay, depending on what you roll. The idea is that it's strange and you can have all sorts of different stuff. This is the name of the god. And then where is your temple and what lays within? The idea here is that the temple becomes something that the players are invested in. They have to, their zombies are defending it. It's something that they've spent their entire unlife in, and they can take ownership of it. So players get to roll on this or choose. They might decide that it's underneath the ruins of an ancient city or nestled under the tall trees of the dank wood. Or you don't know. Maybe no one's ever been out of there. That's up for players to decide. This temple is for your god. It should resemble their name, their personality, their domain. It is the embodiment of their power and your unyielding devotion. You know this place like the back of your festering left hand. The halls, the rooms, the tricks, the traps, the secrets your god has chosen to keep sacred relics within the walls of this ancient place. It is a place that the players know very well. And depending on what you rolled for your god and who they are, it will, inform what you put in there. However, I have created more tables here that you can roll on to help you create it. Okay, so you might decide to do it on your own, or you've got a map you're going to use anyway, but this is a bit of a guide to help you decide what entrance it has, what rooms, what are the halls made out of, and if there are traps there. You might decide to roll on this a number of times if there are traps. Also, what secrets and relics it holds there. Why are adventurers coming to raid this place? Okay, so rolling 3 on each, 3 times on each of these tables will give you some stuff to populate the dungeon with. Next up, it's on the side. I don't know. I'm sure I can change that, but I can't think of how to do that right now. So we're just going to look on the side. This is an example. This is the map here by Luke. And this is just an example of what you might do as a group at the table. Okay, so this is all part of your character creation or your session 0, coming up with what's in the temple. Now, the GM during all this can have input, of course. But remember, the temple is owned by the players. Next up, we're going to make zombies. So this is the character creation. Now, I haven't put together a character sheet for this. I feel like you can just write it down on a piece of paper. However, if anybody does come up with a character sheet, rad, and let me know about it. So this is pretty straightforward. You're going to give yourself a name. Now it says here, then say it while holding your tongue. This is hilarious. But you don't need to do that, of course. You have a few items from your past to write them down, but be specific. So you have worn and rusted clothes and armor, a weapon, a specialized tool, a small trinket from your life, capitalized, so before you were undead, and an item for your god. Now, depending on who your god is and what your role is, that might change, which is why we have why are you there. This can be rolled on or chosen again. So you might be an acolyte learning ancient lore, or you might be a high priest and elder consort. It depends on what you roll or what you choose to do. And, as a table, it's good to discuss these things. GMs, while your players are doing this, take note of who they are and what they do, because that'll inform you as the story goes along. One last question. What is wrong with you? Now, obviously, we're dealing with zombies here, so I wanted to make them strange and unusual. So, you can roll on this or you can pick from it. You are a head and arm sticking out of a wall. There are no bones in your hands. Your bottom jaw has torn off. A stinking green gas floats around you. These are all just little bits of flavor. However, they will mechanically impact you or benefit you depending on where the story goes. So that's it for character creation. Okay, really simple. Coming up with your temple might be the most difficult thing. However, I know that other players, other tables have just set this up to be, they just rolled on all the things, and when it was appropriate in the story, they filled in the blanks as to what was in their temple. Next to the rules are pretty straightforward. Tell everyone what you're attempting to do and how you're going to do it. You're going to roll 2 6-sided dice. For each advantage you have, it's a +1. So if you're attacking and you've got a weapon, excellent. For each disadvantage you have, -1. No weapon. Or perhaps you're in an exposed position or you're too far away. You need to get an 8 or higher to succeed. It's pretty tough to do if you have no bonuses. Well, it can be pretty tough to do. It's just above the average as far as rolling 2d6 goes. So this is where the conversation happens at the table as to what are the benefits, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, and how are you going to get as many as you can to improve this. So what do you do as a rotten zombie? You're the chosen You are the rotten zombies who roam the empty halls of an ancient temple. Your job is to protect this place from invasion. Do as your god says, find more followers, carry out ceremonies, and ensure the place is tidy. You will not go long without something going wrong or something needing doing. This is for a little bit of advice for GMs as well. GMs, it is your responsibility to make sure that there is something happening, whatever it is. If the characters or the zombies or even the players are not getting up to much, it is time for the GM to act. And now we have how to run this game. There's only a very small amount of stuff in here, and that was by design because I wanted this to be a bit loosey-goosey. There's always someone at the door or chores to be done. Now, by someone at the door, it might be intruders or explorers, but there's always something to do, and it is usually the god's decree that things are happening. So, when it comes to why are the characters doing anything, it's probably because their god have told them to. Okay, there is always a result. So even if you fail a roll, there should still be something that happens. Okay, and maybe it's not catastrophic to the character, but it might be something that fails forward. So whilst they don't achieve exactly what they wanted to do, they might get a small part of that achievement. The gods don't hold all the answers. These are just your starting place. Your group can make up their own rules when strange and interesting situations arise, but make sure you write it down. If there's a rule you don't like, remove it. Okay? It is your game. Be free-flowing. That text was directly taken from Jared Sinclair's writing, and I think that's really important when you're playing games that don't have huge rule sets that explain everything, is to have that open conversation with your players about what's going on. And lastly, look out for each other when you're playing this game. Any game, really. Look out for each other in the world. But when you are playing this, ensure that you are kind and you're empathetic, and that you're looking out for the other people at your table, and listen to the warnings and listen to what people have to say. Next, we have hostilities and hospitalities. So these are just a collection of D6s that GMs can roll on to come up with ideas for events, happenings, adventures, whatever you want to do. You may decide to roll these at the table. However, some of you might want to prepare a bit more and write them down before you start. So, for example, if we have intruders, you might have some holy warriors that are here to sanctify the temple they're teleporting in to do so. Okay. Or you might have explorations being sent out. Okay. So the god might tell you to head to the top of a mountain to get an artifact because they need you to propagate fear. And then clean house. This is about adventures within the temple. So it might be in a small room that there's some festering flesh that needs to be studied. Or perhaps in the treasure room there is a mutated animal that needs to be weaponized. They're all just, I like the term spark tables. I think that comes from Electric Bastion Land. For sparking ideas and telling stories. And that's it. That was a super quick rundown of this game and how I would play it. Okay, if you happen to have zombies that die or get to a state where they can't involve in the story anymore, you can easily make up new ones, roll new ones if you need to, and keep the story going. I hope that's helpful. If you have questions, chuck them in the comments. And I got links to all the places you can get this just in the bottom. So check it out. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. Take care.